person who thinks all the time has nothing to think about except thoughts. So, he loses touch with reality and lives in a world of illusions.
The sensation which corresponds to the image of ourselves is a chronic muscular tension, which has absolutely no useful function whatsoever. The most fascinating problem in the world is who we are.
And the question of who are you?
You might not be the you that you think you are.
What do you think you are?
We've got all sorts of ideas built into us.
But this identification only happens within the mind. It's only a concept.
When we were born, we don't really know where we came from, because we don't remember. Because when you were babies, practically, all your parents and your teachers and your aunts and uncles and your older brothers and sisters got together and they told you who you were.
So we get this sense that this is actually us, but it's not true.
And we think when we die, that's just going to be that. So, we have been taught to dread death, as if that were the end of the show. And therefore, to be afraid of all the things that might bring about death. Pain, sickness, suffering.
For the truth of the matter, these things aren't really the real you. But it's a very, very powerful illusion.
We've been hoodwinked into the feeling that we exist only inside our skins. This trip between the maternity ward and the crematorium is what there is to life. We are not accustomed to say, I am a body. We rather say, I have a body. In other words, we don't regard I myself as identical with our whole physical organism. We regard it as something inside it. We are a soul imprisoned inside a body, placed in a world that is not us, that is foreign, alien, other. A world that is profoundly alien to us in the sense that what is outside me is not me. That is a hallucination. Our real body is not just what's inside the skin, but our whole total external environment. underneath the superficial self, there is another self. That's what there is. The self. Universal, eternal, boundless, indescribable.
So the real self is actually an indescribable thing.
The universe doesn't let you in on the truth that all sense experiences are vibrations of the self.
That is perhaps only a portion of the whole truth, or even part of an altered truth.
But the truth is funnier than that. That the experience you are having, which you call ordinary everyday consciousness, pretending you're not it
just is an illusion.
Like you think you're really here. Well, you've persuaded yourself that way. You've acted it so damn well that you know this is the real world. But you're playing it. It's because the audience and the actor is one. In other words, when you really start to see things, you call into being the whole universe of light and color and hardness and heaviness and everything, you see. What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. The real you, the real deep down you, is the whole universe. We have difficulty in seeing this because it's contrary to common sense, contrary to the way we've been brought up. If you stop to think about it, that is completely obvious. Only everything conspires to prevent you from seeing that obvious thing. Look, there is some sort of conspiracy. Our common sense has been rigged.
Your whole life, past, present, and future, is the illusory outward form of the one underlying the entire process.
Initial intellectual block to understanding it. But obviously, we must overcome that intellectual block.
Time to wake up. What is reality? We all know what reality is. Reality is this.
the consciousness state you're in at this moment is the same thing as what we might call the divine state.
This feeling of our own existence may be a hallucination.
It's what's looking out of your eyes now. You are it. It's you. You maybe just haven't realized it yet, but you are it. Because there's only one, and you are here.
Understand this worldly illusion. The objects you see around you are virtually not there at all. Your senses tell you that your experience is real because your brain is fooled into thinking it is so.
Nothing exists, only your own consciousness.
Nothing exists outside of your mind.
You are the only person who exists. And everybody else is your dream.
To be the one mind, the one being, behind everything that happens. Because there is only one, and you are it.
So if we look at what we really know about reality, and I mean really know beyond just assuming that we know, once you really get a sense at how many holes are in the belief of realism, then it stands to reason that everything else, it just is an illusion. The perspective that you're experiencing right now is really the only experience that there is.
All the interactions and experiences you've had with the world since your birth were nothing more than a figment of your own imagination. Only you exist.
Person, they don't have thoughts like you or a mind like you. They're just the fodder of your personal bubble of experience.
They're automatons. Am I real, or am I just an automaton? But it is important not to fool oneself about this.
There is but one reality, which is without form, without any quality that the mind can imagine. And that this being so, it excludes there being any reality whatsoever to the seeming multiplicity of the physical world. In other words, the physical world that we perceive with our senses is in reality simply not there. And there is even no cause within reality for its seeming to be there. If that in turn is an illusion, and the illusion that one sees an illusion is an illusion, then you've got principle that is fundamentally distinct from the supreme reality, in the sense of being fundamentally, and I mean fundamentally, unreal.
Solipsism is the way that things are.
So you see, the thing is that the game is essentially a game, and the visibility of the world is the game being played. We are playing a game. The only thing you really know is what you can put into words. All of it is an integral part of the game. for money. We've got to survive. We must go on. That's your game. That's your life game. That's what makes you think you're an ego. Your mind is what there is. Everything. But the only way to find that out is to persist in the state of delusion as hard as possible. It seems, doesn't it, that you are behind your eyes. But behind the eyes, there seems to be something that has no color. It isn't dark, it isn't light, it's just, it's there from a tactile standpoint. You can feel it with your fingers, although you don't get inside it. But what is that behind your eyes? You may think that then therefore, the external world is all inside my skull. But you've got to correct that with the thought that your skull is also in the external world. But when you really start questioning this, you find you get a new kind of common sense. It becomes absolutely obvious to you.
If you were the Supreme Self, what would you do? I mean, would you just sit there and be blissfully one and everything forever and ever and ever? Well, obviously not. You would play games. You would let go of yourself. And you would get lost. And you get involved in all sorts of adventures. And you'd forget who you were. Just as when you play a game.
Let's suppose that you were able every night to dream any dream you wanted to dream. And that you could, for example, have the power within one night to dream 75 years of time. Or any length of time you wanted to have. And you would naturally, as you began on this adventure of dreams, you would fulfill all your wishes. You would have every kind of pleasure, you see. And after several nights of 75 years of total pleasure each, you would say, well, that was pretty great. But now let's have a surprise. Let's have a dream which isn't under control. Well, something is going to happen to me that I don't know what it's going to be. And you would dig that and come out of that and say, wow, that was a close shave, wasn't it? Then you would get more and more adventurous, and you would make further and further out gambles as to what you would dream. And finally, you would dream where you are now. You would dream the dream of living the life that you are actually living today. That would be within the infinite multiplicity of choices you would have. Playing that you weren't God. The life you're living is what you put yourself. Only you don't admit it. Because you want to play the game that it's happened to you. You put yourself in this situation. You started it. I didn't. You're saying to yourself, I won't wake up until I feel I deserve it. I won't wake up until I've made it difficult for me to wake up. And when you want to wake up, you will. Just like that. So I invent for myself an elaborate system of delaying my waking up. I put myself through this test and that test, and when I feel it's been sufficiently arduous, then I may at last admit to myself who I really am. and draw aside the veil and realize that after all, when all is said and done, I am that I am, which is the name of God. Doesn't it really astonish you that you are this fantastically complex thing? So what is discord at one level of your being is harmony at a higher level. And you begin to realize that, and you begin to be aware too that the discords of your life at a higher level of the universe. Well, now here's the problem. You will realize that what you describe as things under your own will feel exactly the same as things going on outside you. The distinction between voluntary and involuntary behavior disappears. If you don't understand what's going on, you're liable to get crazy at this point. Now, if we can make believe that the game is real, whatever that means, we are not really very clear about that. But somehow we know what it means in our bones if we don't know very well in our heads. What is for real? To play the game and to know it's a game can be quite fascinating. You actually have power over other people. Nobody really wants to go the whole hog until you're ready for final nirvana. You know, then you give the show away so far as you're concerned. And that's it. He knows the human game is a game, but he goes on playing it with considerable gusto. The ultimate reality of the universe is the self. All the world's a stage. And all beings whatsoever are the masks and plays and ploys of the central self. There is just this self. Self pretends that it's lost. And it's playing the game of hide and seek with itself. It gets lost, it gets involved in the farthest out adventures. But in the end, it always wakes up and comes back to itself. You are only just kidding that you're just poor little me. So then, here's the drama. My metaphysics, let me be perfectly frank with you, are that there is the central self. You can call it God, you can call it anything you like. And it's all of us. It's playing all the parts of all beings whatsoever, everywhere, anywhere. Do you know that the word person means mask? The persona, which is the mask worn by actors in Greco-Roman drama. And so in the course of forgetting that this life is a drama, the word for the role, the word for the mask, has come to mean who you are genuinely, the person. Now, here's the choice. Are you going to trust it or not? If you do trust it, you may get let down. And this it is yourself, your own nature, and all nature around you. There are going to be mistakes. But if you don't trust it at all, you're going to strangle yourself. You're going to fence yourself round with rules and regulations and laws and prescriptions and policemen. To live, I must have faith. I must trust myself to the totally unknown. If you awaken from this illusion, you can begin to feel your own existence as absolutely fundamental. What you are basically, deep, deep down, far, far in, is simply the fabric and structure of existence itself. And that is the secret. There really is no other secret than that. But it is thoroughly repressed. Somehow all this suffering amounts to something in the end. This is the reason, you see, why we don't want to know that the game is only a game. Ask yourself this. What would really let the cat out of the bag and give away the show? LSD is one such chemical that does produce this curious effect, so that it becomes apparent that inside and outside go together. And people who take these chemicals see through the human game. So what happens while you were very, very high on LSD? You're unbelievably more wise in your nature than you ever will be in your conscious thoughts. That is really the thing that cannot be let out. That's the rule of the stage. Because without that, there wouldn't be a play. There would only be reality. No illusion. And the whole point of life is illusion. From the word Latin ludere, to play.